Hi, everyone. This is our conversation for Journey installment 20 is chapters 158 to 170. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Rick, and over to you.
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see everybody. And there's some people here that I haven't met before. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. This installment that we have, it's got a lot of interesting subject matter in it, from the Akashic records to Aunt Tilly, and some things about her. So if you don't mind, I would like to start off with a message. We just got a message about half an hour ago, and I will put it on screen. Is everybody good with that?
That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, good.
Go for it.
Let's see. I will email this to everybody later on today. It came at 1:07, and it says, "Dear brethren, we hope you have enjoyed hearing from your old friends and ours. They really didn't go anywhere. They still work tirelessly on bringing truth to the earth. Their lives continue in miraculously magical ways. They show you that there truly never is a period at the end of the sentence. Life goes on and on and on and on, forever and forever. Thank you for embracing what is next in your spiritual development, which is a journey into the unknown. Because spiritual development never has a period, it just has more. With light and truth, cadre of souls." And that ended at 1:15. So I'll send that to everybody later on today. Thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
That's such
Thanks,
a beautiful
Rick.
message. It's
Thanks,
so
Rick.
beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I have been forwarding those to a few of my students because they can't be on these calls or anything. And they were all very pleasantly surprised that Helen showed up. So the one that came from Bill, I sent it and I said, another guest surprise. So
Yeah, and the one from Bill, I was delighted to see that you, Rick, Joe, and myself were mentioned. And I called Joe and we talked about it just now. And she was thrilled too, because I was thinking Bill Thetford was kind of like the team. I mean, he did the transcribing, from Helen's in a dictation, which she did in shorthand. And then there were other people who published. But Joe and I are the equivalent of Bill, I guess, in terms of transcribing and putting it out there, So that was really sweet to see that. She was
Rick, can I
like,
ask a question, Rick? I know
Sure.
when you get these messages and when you heard it was Helen, did that not, like I'm going to say, blow your mind to hear Helen's message, the first one, that she appeared?
That's a good question. At first, it was a little confusing because I could tell there were two entities, and I didn't know. I knew Mother Mary, and this wasn't her, and I knew Jesus, and then he started talking, and then it started to make sense after he introduced her. And the same thing happened with Bill, because I really haven't had that opportunity where there's two speakers. Even the cadre of souls, I don't know how many there are, but only one voice for the totality of the group. So, this whole thing has been so strange that I've stopped thinking it's strange. It's like, oh, this is normal. You never know what's going to happen or when they want to talk and when they want to send a message, and like even today, you know, I had to go to the pharmacy this morning, and I was feeling like that there was a message, and I really needed to kind of speed things up and be available at 1 o'clock. So it's fun, but it's also strange and mysterious and surprising, and we never know what will happen next with it. But that's life, right? You never know what's going to happen.
That's the journey into the unknown, right? We're
Right.
actually doing it. That's how we have to live. We are living it. That's love it. I love it.
And I guess to be open to it, to be receptive to it, not to block it, to be receptive. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
Mhm.
When you asked Rick, does it blow his mind? I think his mind got blown a long time ago. A long time ago. And I love him just the way he is, mind blown and all.
I think the messages for me, I have had so much happen this week. Things are just happening. And I have paid a little bit more attention to these messages and thinking, okay, there's a message in these messages. They're not just a nice fluffy message. First of all, I have found that the messages always correspond with the installments. It seems to affirm the installments, you know, in another way. It's coming from that other realm. Well, we're the one realm. It's not, but when Helen was introduced, I stopped for a minute and I thought, is this for real? Is this because, and then my logic, it just happened for a split second, but oh boy, this is going to be a schism, like, you know, and then I had to feel what I was feeling because it was coming up and it was blocking. And I had to go to that receptive place and say, it just, I don't know if I said anything can happen here, but I was certainly thinking it. And I had to be open to that. But what I've noticed in the messages is that, you know, the Mother Mary will say, well, I have somebody to introduce to you, but first I want to speak to you about union. And this was before Helen was even introduced. I think this was, it's before the last four where Helen's doing most of the speaking, right? And the installments, they're so amazing. There's so much in there to absorb it all and get it. But I think what it's doing is emphasizing, you know, the mature soul, the soul coming to maturity, which it tells us somewhere in those messages or in the installments, I can't even separate them hardly anymore, that we have had to know, you know, we've all known union, you know, to be able to be open and receiving what's coming in, right? So we are mature in a way, but the installments are talking about the soul level and the character level, and it's making distinctions for us to see more clearly how we're still the soul, we're the mature soul, we've experienced union, but how the character still resists love. And the messages are telling us, or no, the installments are telling us the whole goal of the soul is love, only love, right? Trying to get through that to us. So that's our installments. There's so much in there, the Akashic records, or the tree of life, they call it. And I've made side notes, but I really haven't even had time to spend the time I do with them. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. And I've been looking at the messages more and more because they're showing us how this is all one. Helen is telling us, you know, when I first started this, I didn't even know what real or illusion meant. Rick does. He's coming in here ahead of understanding more than me, right? But I knew at certain level, I couldn't ignore this, but she didn't know what to do with it at first, right? And then we bring in Bill, and they're showing us this team of souls. I loved it, Christine, that you and Joe and Rick now were, grouped as a team, and how important to be in union and teamwork is, you know, the joining in the relationship, right? But there's also a thread of connecting Bill and Helen Mari, who I think she did explain, maybe in the foreword, that she sat with this material for a year or two and didn't know what to do with it and didn't have anybody to help her, kind of. She was on her own until somebody came forth, obviously, to publish it. And I don't know the story behind that. I don't know how that fell into place, but it all falls into place perfectly. And that's what's happening here. Last night before I went to bed, I was in my candle though, and I had this prayer come through, and it says, but I love you when you're messy. I love you when in your mistakes. And I love you when you're squabbling in the sandbox. And at the same time, an image came through my head, and I'm this little girl, about 3 or 4. I'm in the sandbox in my pink dress, and I've got dirt all over my face, and I've got messy hair. And it says, and I love your dirty face, and I love your disheveled hair. And, you know, I don't know if I understand totally, but I think the character and the soul, I know lately I have these thoughts, oh, but I'm a human being right now. Oh, but I'm a human, but I'm divine. And then when I'm thinking I'm being more spiritual in meditation, oh, I'm divine. No, but I'm human. I'm both human and I'm both divine. Like, so it shows us how we can be split, you know, in the character. Aunt Tilly was a Black slave, I think, in 1660 or some, and then she was an Asian female that immigrated, I think, to America, was it? But that speaks to how we do go on and on. We don't die. We just leave our body. But maybe they talk about this project, and this is ongoing. I mean, maybe we've been part of it for 2,000 years, right? And maybe we're going to continue being it. But I do feel it was trying to show us a distinction between how the character works and how the soul works, because it's shown to us in the messages by having Bill and Helen now speak to us and say, this is what it was like for me as the character, not even understanding. Yet I knew it was about something deeper, because so that was the soul coming through, right? So I just find it all fascinating. And the last point is these messages are linking ACIM, ACALL, and Journey. And I woke up at 3 2 nights ago, and there was this image of a baseball field. And first base was ACIM, second base was ACOL, and third base was Journey. And I thought, well, yeah, Journey, and there's the home stretch, and there's the home plate. And not everybody's going to run those bases in the same way, but we're all doing the same journey. I mean, if we look at Muji and other channelers and other ways, I mean, they're hitting home runs out of the park right from home base. But we're on this journey, that analogy came up for me, and we're on the home stretch. And there's my messy times in it. And things are coming to me right, left, and center that are just coming. And I think them also illustrating that we're going to be talking to you directly. You now are one with us. You're getting these thoughts. And where did that come from? Where did that come from? I don't question it anymore. I just go with it. Did I make it up? Maybe, but how did that pop into my mind? You know, I love you in your messiness. I love you in your mistakes. I love you when you squabble in the sandbox. And so it's bringing to me the soul and the character, the human, the divine. But I think I've made my point, and I'm going to leave it there. And that's what I have to bring to you for this in this moment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lorraine.
this is John. This is John.
Hi, John.
I am overawed with these messages coming through, and I because I of A Course in Miracles. I love I love Bill and Helen coming through. I even thought to myself, uh, wouldn't it be nice to hear from Ken Wapnick, because he was involved in the Course in Miracles right from the start. And I've been thinking when you were talking that, you know, Jesus has been around for, well, he's probably been around for millennia upon millennia upon millennia. And when he walked this earth 2,000 years ago, he had the same problems that we are having today, dealing with a brutal dictatorship, with a corrupt religious organization, uh, and trying to set the world uh, with the idea of peace and love. And he had a lot of resistance. And I've been a follower of the Gospels, and by reading the Gospels, you get an idea of what I love history anyway, and I love when the apostles were having the same issues that we're dealing with these today. After Jesus arose, resurrected, after what seemed to be a horrible, horrible death, and just like darkness fell upon the earth, uh, the apostles were like, "What do we do now? What do we do now?" This man that we're trying to set us on our way to a better way is gone from us. And I find it interesting that the Course in Miracles, Course of Love, and the Journey are written to the scribe, are written in, as was stated in the messages, are written to the scribes. That Helen and Bill were more academicians. Mari has a different uh, perspective, and you, Rick, have a different perspective. So Jesus is talking to us through you, and so now it's up to us, and it's up to me, and I'm taking a lot as each installment. I am taking things that I'm just amazed, and then I'm incorporating it into my life as much as possible, with the idea of like God blessing everybody as when I think of them and when I meet them, and just being a better person, just being a better person, um, and it all begins with me. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, John. That's awesome.
Yeah, okay.
How are you doing, Tam?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. Hello.
Good. Hello.
It's been a nice week, and I appreciate the different messages coming in from different beings. I think what I'm getting from that is the idea that we are all in this together, and there is no one superior focus when we are joined in these efforts, in this love, in this consciousness. We are not separate. And the two phrases that have come to me, I don't have a biblical background, so I find it kind of interesting when things pop in my head and I have to kind of dig into where they came from. But the one phrase that came that has been showing up a lot just when I'm going about my day is ye are as gods. And I think that's something that Jesus said referencing something that came in even later in the Bible. But my feeling is that we underestimate on this side, you know, we underestimate just the enormity, the I mean, it's not size, it's beyond size of what we are of. And the other phrase that keeps coming to me is just the phrase as love. That when we go about in as souls, we are functioning as love, as individual aspects, but as love. And it's just, it's pretty yummy. So.
Rick, I just want to add in that when I was explaining what I have been experiencing is that both the characters, and maybe this is the sandbox thing for me, that both the characters and the soul show up. We both show up in this meeting, and that it's not one or the other. Maybe that's what I'm sensing. And you know, I'm human, but I'm when I'm being human, I'm being divine. When I'm being divine, I'm being human. So and that's what I was seeing in our installment. Both the characters and the soul is at play here. Of course, the higher thing is being called to love through all of it. There's that character part that even gets us there. So that was an important thing that I took out of this too.
It's seamless. I mean, honestly, Lorraine, I am developing my own language bit by bit for what you just described, the both and. I've been using the phrase both and since 1987, where I coined it for my systems engineering work. I hadn't seen it before. I see it all over right now. But it's so clunky. There is something much more seamless than that happening that comprises the human and divine, the masculine and the feminine, neither one being diminished because of the other, but equally unique and flowing into each other. So I know we will develop a new language, not that even it needs to be words, it could well be telepathic, as that's been talked about. But in the meantime, anybody comes up with good words that melds both. Like in a call I was talking about feeling at this time, so often feeling both trepidation and exhilaration at the same time. Trepidation and exhilaration. And somebody responded saying, "Oh, but I'm not afraid. There's nothing to fear." And I listened, and then I said, "Well, I didn't say I was afraid. I said I felt the seamless flow of trepidation and exhilaration, the same vibration in my body that I can't separate the two." So the other day I was sitting down early morning. I said, "Okay, I'm going to say trepidation."
But then we are feeling it all at the same
right,
time.
and we don't have language for it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
You're
gosh,
right.
that's
Absolutely
so amazing, so amazing. Thank you.
How are you doing, Bill? You've got your
unmute.
Yeah, you've got your mute on. There you go.
I guess I'd say I guess the best way I can describe this is just this feeling of allowing this waterfall, if you will, to continue to flow, to welcome Helen, to welcome Bill, or to welcome us to join Helen and Bill, if you will, along the way, and to just watch the number of material, the number of items that are coming up along the way. I can't put my finger on any one given item, except to just simply be grateful to be having tidbits here that are offered to a Course in Miracles group I'm involved with, and to the Course of Love groups that I'm involved with, that just seeing all of it merging together and accelerating might just be the case. And I recognize that this has been my choice. And I'd suggest I have this idea that it's everyone's choice who's here now. It's funny, when we began hearing about the Akashic records, in a Unity library back at Unity Village a few years ago, just going through, pardon the music of the ice cream truck flowing by.
And you're not going to run out there?
I'm busy elsewhere. I just would randomly go through the bookstore to see what they have there, and I happened to pick up the Akashic records at that point in time, and have the book and had not done anything with it until I got the inspiration that's shown up in the last couple of days. So one more little piece to be put in together with all of this. I'm just grateful to have, I vision this hour here together as like a check-in time, time to compare notes, to see how we're each receiving and what's unfolding for each one of us. You might remember a while ago I talked about wanting to do something about dismantling racism, and I initiated some work. We had an awesome meeting about a week and a half ago amongst 4 people that we're at this point in time just formulating the whole discussion about what is it that we can do, what can we bring in that. And I'm moving into this from the standpoint of wanting to see something happen there, but also see with the question of the number of, or the minorities, or how many people of color, particularly Black people, are showing up in our community or in our program. And as I heard one other person say, she's hosting an event of 100 people and she can count the number of Black people who are in the community on one hand. The question I'm sitting with is this addressing racism a means to open doorways to expanding awareness for others within the Black community? And that's might be considered audacious for me to be saying that, considering my lack of involvement with the Black community. But with the 2 of them showing up as they are, I just feel that something's here, something that's unfolding. And I know, as I'm really getting from these calls and from recent work with the material, is it's being shown, it's being given. Relax. Effort isn't involved in this. Instead, simply being open to what I am or what we are guided to do. So I'm just so grateful for having found you folks and to hear the discussions that are going on through all of us. Thank you. That's it for now.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Rodrigo, how are you doing? Rodrigo and Booty.
Very well, Rick.
Oh, good.
We are enjoying receiving the messages, sometimes even more than the text itself, because the messages that come reveal to us that we are part of this realm of unity. So, although we are here in a body and we can't see with our bodies those who are no longer here in form, such as Helen and Bill or Jesus and others, the communication exists. All it takes is that we be willing to communicate with them. So the messages are showing that communication is possible. And even if we can't hear back from them, as you do, Rick, even for those of us who can't directly hear an answer or hear them talking back to us, I feel the certainty that the communication is taking place. So what is happening now is that we are then intensifying this communication. Yes. As we go through the daily activities, we remember again and again those who are not physically present in our lives. Not only Jesus, Mary, but the circle is widening. We now can include people such as Helen or Bill and others, and even our relatives who already passed away. We can be in touch with the whole world, if you will, from the comfort of our couch, like so to speak. Like even in a pandemic, even in a physical environment, which our connection or our contact with people in person is greatly reduced now. We feel more than ever before that we are so well connected. We have so many relationships. There is so much going on. Even though we too, for example, we are mostly alone. There's no one around us. We meet few people, but we feel deeply connected. Yeah, so this feeling of being connected is very intense and it's very palpable, although not visible to our physical eyes. So adding the messages that you are sending us is really being a blessing for us. And we are grateful for what you are doing, Rick. Thank you for receiving the messages, taking heart to share these messages with the world. And yeah, we really appreciate your role, but the role of everyone also here in this call. We are all together in this.
Yeah. And especially like this part of beautiful soul, and that we are the lights, or we are the beacon of love to share. And there is the one you can easily like remember someone in your family, and then I have remembered my great grandmother, which is for me the perfect symbol of God and goddesses, the love. And I have such a feeling of connection, and I feel that, yeah, that is really, we are all called to be shared who we truly are and our truth with one another. And when the tongue is sharing, and I really like that just note I've had made just now, be you love, or be you God as love, or be as God. So thank you for everyone.
Thank you both. You're reminding me of one of our chapters this week, which talks about remembering the love that a character gave because that was coming from their soul, and not remembering anything else. And so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hi, Jody. How are you doing?
We're great. It doesn't
Good.
show on the screen. I should probably change it. So this is my son, Luke.
Hello.
Hi, Luke. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet all of y'all.
I was just thinking when I was listening to people talk that it's amazing to me. So I'm reading several books at a time. And whenever I get the downloads and the messages, and then I read the other books I'm reading, they're saying the same thing. It's like it's I don't know if other people are having that same experience, but it's like the messages keep coming to me from different places and spaces that just reinforces that I'm supposed to be listening and I'm supposed to be hearing those particular messages. And I'm finding that exhilarating. And what was the other word, Christina? Trepidation and exhilaration. Yeah. Anyway, so that's been really exciting. And I just feel this energy like a train kind of chasing me in a way, but it's a fun energy. It's not a frightening energy for me, but just a excited anticipation of what's coming for the journey. So that's where I am. I don't know. Can't speak for Luke.
Yeah, it's been really amazing how everything in my life recently has just all been coming together, like my mom's saying, from all different directions. And I loved getting the information this week about images and how, Rick, you might hear things where other people have these image snippets, and it all of a sudden I had this crazy realization of how much of that has been happening to me my whole life. And like I could see back in time where lots of these images have been put in front of me or teaching me so much. And it's just amazing. Yeah, just seeing it all come together in the way that it has been. Pretty awesome. So thank you all for being here. I'm so happy to be here with all of you and hearing all of what you have to share.
Thank you both so much. So nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
How are you doing, Paula?
I'm doing fine, really fine. I sit here and I listen, and my mind goes to different areas of everyone that speaks something else to me somewhere within. The soul hears it at some point. My humanness hears it another point. But having come to this particular time in my journey, I'll call it, I don't question anything anymore. I actually want to hear either Jesus or Mother Mary. But like Rick, he hears and it comes through him. But and I sit back and think, and I say, we get messages every minute of the day. As long as we stay open and receptive to listen. Sometimes it doesn't even take words. I feel when I sit in silence, I hear messages, and I get the ringing in the air and I say, like, what is that saying to me now? But, and reading this material from day one, I didn't even question it. It was like, yes. Because I know, and I know we all know that we are at where we are right now, right here and now. And I might not articulate it as well as others. And like Tam said, I have no biblical background. I was raised Catholic. I have beliefs that I hold true to, and they help me get to where I am. There's no coincidence that I'm here now. And I'm just reveling in it. And I am so, so grateful because where I am allows me to deal with the human experience because I have the strength of the soul. And I've always known, without picking up a book, that I was more than a human. I've always known that. It was there, something. And that's why I'm here now, because my soul is saying, yes, this is where we should be. And I embrace my humanness because I am one. I am one with my humanness, and that's what makes me so complete, makes us all complete. So, and I thank you, Rick. I thank you for being a receiver and a deliverer and a sharer. And I relish in it. Thank you. These installments really spoke to me because it went to my soul. My soul was saying, yes, yes. So, thank you. Thank you.
Paula, I'm so sorry, but you are prompting me to tell this funny little story that happened this morning. It's a human story. I was going over to the pharmacy to get this pill that helps with cholesterol because I have really high cholesterol. So I get back in the cab with my little bag of medicine, and I tell the driver, "Oh, I think we need to go to 24th and Church. There's a donut shop. Can we stop there just real quick?" So he pulls up, and I go in there and I get, plenty of good stuff in there. And I get back in the car and I say, "You want to hear a funny story?" And the driver says, "Yes." I said, "Inside this bag are cholesterol lowering drugs." And I just went in that donut shop and bought all this cholesterol. So thank you for reminding us about our humanness.
And it's fine.
It's fine.
That's the both and, Rick. That's the balance. One bag has the raising cholesterol, the other bag has lowering cholesterol. You're all set in perfect balance.
We allow one another.
To be honest, Christina, that bag of the donuts was way heavier than the bag with the pills.
Bite of the donut, take a pill. Bite of the donut, take a pill.
Yeah.
Love it. And we can embrace ourselves because that's part of who we are. So that's great. And I'm enjoying that because, anyway, I'm so enjoying embracing both the wholeness of myself and us, all of us. So thank you.
How are you doing, Christina?
Good, thank you. Just
Gotcha.
fine. It's actually a nice week for me because I'm not in parallel with all of this other journey stuff. I'm not preparing an installment. So and also the installment, you've all said it's pretty intense. You have 2 weeks to sit with it and enjoy it before the next installment. But without, there's so many things. I think Lorraine spoke of that, and things are moving really fast. Paul, I think, was it you who talked about the train, or did somebody else talk about the train? Was that Jody? Jody, I think, yeah. It feels that way, except we are the train. It's like we are the carriages on that train, and in the joining with each other, we're moving. And there's such a domino effect that's happening with people all around me, people I'm hearing from. There's such excitement, and movement, just staying open to it. And it's like a tsunami, just riding the wave, one moment at a time. So I'm being vague, I know, but I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Thanks, Christina.
How are you doing this week, Judy?
I'm good. I enjoyed the reading. I like the idea that our bad character traits die with the character. So it kind of takes away from the souls having to come back and redoing things over and over. And the fact that souls are cleansed when they do pass over. The whole karma thing has always been interesting. And I'm really grateful that it mentioned that good karma, love also creates a karma. I think sometimes we tend to forget that and we just go the other way thinking, it's all the bad stuff is going to pile up, and we forget about the good stuff that we've done, or the love that we've given while here. I guess in the Course in Miracles that talks about our storehouse of our treasures that we store up over a lifetime. The other thing that came to mind was the idea that we're having a life review now, We don't have to wait. And I think it was last week when Christina was talking about something with her father and these little stories that come up, and they've been popping up for me too. And I'll go, wow. You know, your past is as made up as the future, because now is the only time there is. So when these things come up, I go, oh yeah. And a lot of them I smile at, because I realize that was just a very immature soul. And some I actually blush, and others I just shake my head going, you know. But then again, if the bad traits die with the character, I'm quite happy to know that. So, and the little pun that when they're talking about packing up your worries in boxes, and then just return it to sender, that was really, and Christina, you read it really well. It was really sweet. I forget which chapter that's in, but just, you know, have her pack it up and return it to sender. So yeah, it's been a good week. Again, so many things that I've been listening to. Well, the truth is true. So when we hear something and it all kind of, it just colors more of what we know. And so I've been really listening to a lot of good videos and getting, seeing the whole creation process and the whole journey into the unknown, which I don't know how many times I've heard, well, we're going into the unknown, we're going into the unknown. I mean, so everyone is picking up on that. And now with this election, and finally it seems that they're going to allow Biden to be the next president and all that. It's not like things are going to, well, they have changed overnight. I think a lot of people are breathing a lot easier, sleeping a lot better, having a sense of a box sent back, a big box sent back. And we have our work ahead of us, but I think the way has been cleared for us to do that work now. And we don't have that big box sitting on our head, you know? And so I've been really positive and really looking forward to every day. It's really great. And one of the people I listened to is just saying, you know, how good can it get? Every day we should say, gee, just how good can this day get? And really look forward to having really good things coming our way and forget about everything else. And do not watch the news. Do not get involved in that stuff, because that's not our reality. One person said it really great. She says, you know, when they say, oh, we have a new news story, it's a story. They're making it up. And so we're here to make up our own story. And it can really be a very good story. So those are the kind of things that I've been doing this week that keep me going, that I've been enjoying life. Actually, I'm very used to this shutdown, lockdown, whatever, maybe because I was retired anyway. So it was, you know, it's different, but it's also comfortable. So that's my story.
Judy,
Thank you, Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
One item that came up for me is speaking, Judy, specifically about the good karma and bad karma. And as you were speaking of that, I look at this as the human condition. Mm-hmm. We're going to hold on to what we're resisting, or we're going to hold on to what we're afraid of, and have our protection shield, if you will, up about that. Conversely, with good karma, we simply accept what is, accept the truth, and are able to just take that lightly and move on. So I've wrestled with that over time, and I appreciated you speaking that as you did, and to be able to bring that up in this moment. And gratefully, as we've read, it all is going to be gone anyway. When we are willing, when we do our work, when we're willing to go through that. Thanks, I'm complete. Pardon the interruption. On we go.
Well, I'm going to interrupt too, because Judy, I love what you said about the review in life, you know, the bits that have been popping up for you. That's happening for me every day. And, you know, it's interesting. This is a question I sit with. It's like, okay, so yeah, after we die, across the veil, all of that will disappear. That's clear. I love that. But we're being asked to do our life review in form while we're still here. And I remember the bit in A Course of Love that talks about not to be afraid of any of this stuff coming up, because it's just like specks of sand to the ocean. And all it needs is a passing glance of love or compassion and a nod of love, and it's gone. And the reason that feels so good, and it's how I've been doing that, and I'm sure that's how you're doing it too, as these things come up, and Bill talked about it disappearing. That's exactly it. It kind of vaporizes, is so that we can hold more light and be those light beings here in body. And of course, the promise is the elevated self of form and the choice to be in form for as long as we're having fun. And when we're not, we go, you know? So that's kind of what I'm hanging out with. I have no idea exactly what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's, you know, possibilities beyond anything we've ever imagined before. Yeah, thank you.
There's two other words that came up that you probably heard this before. Guilt is from what we do, and shame is from what we think we are. So the thing of it is anything that the ego has done here, or the immature soul has done, it doesn't matter. And it was never real to begin with. That's what it says. The character was never real to begin with. So the guilt is not even like I said, when these review things come up and I look at them, I really don't feel guilty about them. I look at them like a mature soul would look like at an immature soul, at a baby, someone who's just, you know, that's where I was. That was part of the process. But the shame, we feel shame about who we are. And I remember, God, years ago, we had a conversation and one guy had a lot of shame. And I thought, yeah, shame isn't a word that really, of course, I was young then, I didn't quite grasp. And I guess I really never felt shameful for who I was, at least at that time. But, you know, we're told these things and shame on you, whatever. But those two, guilt and shame, are just so easy to let go of now, knowing who we are in truth. And then looking at anything that might cause those things to arise in us with forgiveness and compassion, and just letting them go.
Send those boxes with shame and guilt back to the store.
Return to sender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I just add something here? And Judy brought it up, you know, speaking about current events. And yet here we are, and we're reading Journey into the Unknown. And if you think about it, everyone, all the souls that are currently on this earth, or participating in this time, are on a journey to the unknown. We've acknowledged it, but you hear it in people like, what's going to be the new norm? How's life going to be when this happens? Forget the election, forget what's happening with the pandemic. I mean, that's worldwide, that's affecting it. So we are, as a collective being, the oneness, we are all on a journey to the unknown. And if we can be the head man, the leaders with the lights, that's what they'll follow us. So, I hear it all the time, that uncertainty of people, everybody's feeling that, how's my life going to be? What's the new norm? The new norm's going to be great. Just get on the train. Follow us.
The new norm is that there will be no norms. It's complete freedom.
Complete new world, but it's get on the train. Don't even,
I tell people to go watch Frozen 2 and enjoy the 2 hit songs, Into the Unknown and Just Do the Next Right Thing.
Mhm.
Good. Yeah,
That was last Thanksgiving it came out, Frozen 2.
that's something, no coincidence, Christina.
Not at all.
No. God sends us messages in so many ways. We ask and we get them, so.
And one of the first questions I asked Rick when this book arrived in my inbox was, have you seen Frozen 2? And he said, no. I thought, ah. And yet you called the book is called Into the Unknown, Journey to the Unknown. Yeah.
Right. So,
Might I say something?
Please do, Irene. I was wanting to hear
Yeah.
from you.
Oh, well, I was thinking how everything leads to everything else that's good when we are pointed in the right direction. This week, hearing from Helen and Bill again brought me back to the mid 1980s when I was first introduced to A Course in Miracles in Detroit, Michigan at a Unity church. And they were heavy into it. And as I had said maybe once that I never met Helen, but we had Bill come, I think, one time, and he told us all kinds of fun stories about Helen and their relationship. And I would never have thought at that time that that would have led all these years to this. Now I've done all kinds of things on this road, you know, on the same path to where I am now. But it just made me realize, you know, I don't know if that was just that I was in the right place at the right time, or that I had my whole life had been gearing to that back in the 80s. And but what a blessing this all has been. Whether I saw it that way, I've always seen it as a blessing, really. And I've never really worried about what was going to come next on this whole spiritual path. But it's just exciting to be here now with Journey. And, you know, I never would have thought then, but I was heavy and enthusiastic and receptive to what was happening then and ever since. And I so much love to listen to all of the comments and the way everybody who comes to this meeting speaks. I want to thank all of you, because it is just everybody has something to add that kind of builds on what the other person says or builds on something else, and how you support each other. And I just love it. So thank you all. That's it.
thank you.
That's lovely.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you.
You said just how I feel about the group too. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, it's been great. It's been such a powerful hour for me. Thank you so much, everybody, for your sharing and your love.
Can
Thank
we
you.
hear from Jamuna before we finish? A
Yes.
few more minutes.
Okay.
Just a few more minutes. Yeah. Jamuna, how are you?
Hi. Hi, aloha everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just been getting ready for work, but I just wanted to say that I've been really loving the messages, the new messages from Helen, Auntie Helen. It's been really nice. They've been really touching my heart. And I'm really grateful for this group and for Rick and for Christina. And I just love the messages that they're so loving and they really open the heart. And yeah, I love that we're in this all together. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to say.
I love it. And we ain't seen nothing yet. We're just beginning. We're just beginning. Isn't that so exciting?
Yes.
What a time to be alive on the planet and to have this beautiful message come through, Rick, for all of us that we've been receiving, you know, over the last several months. You know, it's just pretty amazing. We must have done something right in the past life, I guess. Everything is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you,
everybody.
Bless
all.
you all.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Remember, gratitude is the abracadabra of the universe. So be grateful so more comes in your way.
Goodbye.
Love you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Next
Bye.
week. See you all next week.
Have a great week.
Next week.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Blessings all.